There we go. And I stopped you mid-sentence because I was like, stop. We need to include that. So let's just begin with a good morning. I'm
Good
Deborah.
morning.
Good morning, Suzanne.
Good morning. How are you?
We're a bit all over the place. Perfect to talk about integrity, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Since integrity is like wholeness and all. So, okay. So let's just introduce our topic. Do you want to?
Today's topic is the shadow of judgment with the acidic state of perfection and the beautiful state of the gift of integrity.
Yes. So you might have noticed if you've watched any of our videos in the past that we're not pretty good about, actually, we don't do it at all. We don't edit out the bloopers. So what you see is how we're showing up. So I think this is a perfect way to kick off this conversation because our culture is obsessed with perfection, not the divine kind, with the judgment kind, with what's wrong, with our brains are programmed. We still have that ancient old brain that we're carrying around that is to scan for what's dangerous. So we're programmed to look for what's wrong, what doesn't look right, what doesn't look right. And the which doesn't really serve us anymore as a species. I mean, we still need to be safe. If we're crossing a street, we look and see, oh, there's a bus. I think I'll not cross right now. But without judgment, like that bus is in my way and he's messing up my walk across the street. So let's talk a little bit about judgment because it's kind of a universal thing.
Yeah, it's connected to our lymphatic system, actually. It's kind of weird. Yeah. What's crazy is this thing is called this gene key 18 is all connected to the healing power of the mind. And it's that gene key that's connected to you when you're like in your developmental stages of life.
Yeah.
So when your intellect, like the ages 14 to 21 age, when everybody is got to be perfect and look so great.
True. And we're recording, but just to make this a little bit more not perfect, I'm going to say 1 minute so I can excuse myself. So will you carry on a minute?
Oh, sure. Okay. So it's interesting because the shadow of this is all about the victim mind. So you can imagine at some point we may have, said, oh, that did this to me, or blah, blah. It's like the perceived notions that we make these mistakes and errors and that, any kind of flaws is the shadow state. And it gives us an opportunity to really examine what we're thinking. And I know that I get to do this and kind of, what's the word? I basically hold my inner child and kind of walk myself through without judgment. Like, is there any way that I can spend a day without judging her or saying that she's wrong or that was dumb or whatever nonsense, comes up.
So
And
can I go ahead? I didn't hear everything you said, so I don't know if I want to interrupt right now. Finish.
well, it's anytime you complain, it's not healthy for ourselves, and it's certainly not healthy for the world.
And ourselves.
And our cells, because our cells are listening, right? So we have all these receptors. And so we've got to be very conscious of our mind playing tricks on us and being aware of when it is happening. And there are two types of judgment. One that is fear and defensive and closed-hearted, and the other when we can open our heart and use judgment, that's wisdom, because we use our flaws very creatively, and
And
we
that's the integration part, right? That's acting from integrity. And that is what the first of all, it's the type of trainings that I do is we don't get where we want to go until we thoroughly own our shadows, our reactive tendencies, our whatever. So there's in the past, it used to be you run from your fears, you let go of your fears, you master your fears, you know, and now it's like, oh, those are my fears. How cool are they? I've learned to go from into a place of allowing and accepting and embracing them. And I want to use a great example because one of the ones that's been so up for me is I went on Social Security last year or so. So I hit that magical retirement supposed age, right? And there is a huge cultural prejudice against people of a certain age. Ageism, there's actually an ism for us old people. And it's how we think that when you get old, you're disposable. We can just put you in a home. You're going to lose your memory. Your health is going to be bad. You're going to be a drain on society. We need to let you retire soon because you're not going to be, you're going to be just dragging down our healthcare costs at our organization. I mean, it's just this huge thing. And so I was at a conference last week and there was a woman, the last breakout that I went to was on beliefs and how they affect our bodies, our brains, our another B word. But anyway, the beautiful thing was it was all about this. It was about when we believe that you get old, you're going to lose your memory. Then every time we have a memory lapse of some sort, it's like, oh, see, dementia is setting in. My grandmother had this, and we go, and so our body goes, okay, this is what we're doing.
What are we accepting?
I know. So she was such a great example of how she got into her 60s and started teaching yoga and she did some breath work. She did a lot of breath work with us and talked about, and we were in a religious setting. So it was a bunch of different religious leadership teams and councils that were there. And she talked about if we're going to take the time for prayer, let's use that time for our breath work or meditation and prayer and breath work. How do we blend in the words that we're saying with our breath to tell our body that you are perfect, you are amazing, you are regenerating, you are strong, flexible, intelligent, wise, and still beautiful, because we have a thing about aging means you're not beautiful anymore. So anyway, it was just such a great reminder that we are not we need to be anti or going against the grain. I don't want to say anti because that doesn't work either, right? We want to be forging a different path from what we're being fed from the media, from the movies, from the magazines.
And I do think that more and more it's shifting. I mean, I'm seeing it shift. It's not the way it used to be. And so we just keep that in our forefront of our mind of what do we want to create? What kind of world do we want to create? And it all starts within us, within our own bodies and within our own minds. So we're each responsible for that. And as we do, our collective will change.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we have to just get to a tipping point, but sometimes we're a little judgy about the timeline not going in the direction So can we believe that there is so much more going, which is
Yeah.
what I love about integrity, because when you're standing in integrity, to me, I feel like I'm standing taller and I'm looking at all directions. And there's something in that that allows me to see a broader perspective, way more than my little egoic eyes can see sometimes.
Right. It's, excuse me, it's not your own way of needing to be right. That's part of that old judgment thing. Would you rather be right or happy? You know, like my mom used to say that to me when I was really young. At that age, actually, it's really funny because she'd be like, dang it, Suzanne, you're always trying to be right. And so it was like the one-upmanship, right? And so, you know, I've had to let go of a lot of that feeling of having the need to know and be correct about everything and be observing and relaxed and allowing things to be elastic and expansive instead. Yeah, it's holding that space for yourself and embodying and certainly sometimes when you're embodying and you're talking about stuff, you may be going against the grain. I mean, of popular belief.
Yeah. And and another thing I wanted to say is thank you for sharing that beautiful piece of art that you did over the weekend. What I believe I learned or absorbed in my childhood, especially in that 14 to 21 years of age, um, is first of all, it was the perfection of beauty, um, through magazines and beauty pageants. And yes, I was even in one, which just makes me cringe now. But there's my mother and I would sit and we'd go, oh, her nose is too wide, or that is her eyes are spaced too narrow. I mean, we were so judgy. But and then the other thing is how I lost my love of playing with art because I was so judgy that it wasn't perfect and I wasn't good enough. So I have not, pretty much since high school, I've taken some art classes as an adult. But if I won't pick up and do things on my own unless I'm paying somebody to in a class. And there's something very needs to be unwound around that. There's a wounding and then there's an unwinding of that wound, right? So and I feel like that is like one of my it was one of my sources of joy and pleasure and delight. Let's go back to ecstasy. So so
Right.
so where I want to go with this is how integrity of looking at everything as, oh yeah, everything is just amazing in this moment is what gets us to that divine perfection, which perfection really has an interesting name, doesn't it? Because many of us look at perfection as the perfectionist, and it's kind of labeled, well, we should just change it to the judgment person.
Yeah. I'm just peeking at any of my, you know, the book, seeing
Any of your beautiful work. I really love it when people comment about these videos and they say, oh, this line really stuck out, or when Suzanne read this, or when you did this, Deborah. So these types of feedback give us ideas of what you want more of, or what you would like to see more of or hear more of. And that's very helpful.
So we talked about integrity, we've talked about judgment. And really, when we look at the Siddhic state, it's the bodhisattva. And it's the cellular knowing, it's the embodiment piece. And typically knowing that your inner work, the world is as it is perfect. And that's the acceptance of what is. And that's what you were talking about, Deborah, like what you're dealing with the women that you were working with. And it's being witness to your own mind. And it's like detachment. There's like this still lake that stays within you because you can just watch everything without feeling victimized by it. My light's flickering. And that's when that emotion has changed, and the emotion of desire is purified. It's become this not needing it to be anything else than what it already is.
Oh, and you know, I don't know where we were taught as children to want more than what was already on the table, you know, or to not be so fully satisfied with our gift under the Christmas tree. I don't know. There's something about wanting more that is in the human thing. That's beautiful. And I really like the image of a still lake.
Yeah.
So tell me, when you're feeling, I can feel into what integrity feels like, which is so much more um I love the word that it's embodied because it's true. It means our mind and our body and our emotions, our heart and our mind, our spirit are in alignment. Like we're on purpose, we're living our purpose, we're speaking our truth. It's all uh, uh, integrated. And but there's something about the state, the divine state of perfection. And I guess it's because my mind goes into that perfection is the judgy thing. So
Well,
I'm wondering, how does it feel to you when you are in that space of sublime, man, everything's beautiful in this moment, exactly as it is?
well, just to go back really to the integrity piece, I'm going to read this to you because it really kind of hits home so that you can feel it in your body. The secret of the gift of integrity is to be able to hold your own space without reacting to the judgments, to your own judgments or self-judgments. That's that mental part, right? So you're learning to stand back from it and just trust in it. And that's where, integrity is the deep physical attribution, and it is actually a function of your immune system in maintaining the tensile, sorry, not textile.
Yeah, well,
I love perfection. The tensile strength within your body.
okay.
Um,
So, so I find that the more we become, well, the deeper we get in our spiritual practices, and uh, the more our consciousness is expanded, we tend to do these weird. Did you see that? That was weird. Um, that we tend to. Um, there's something about how we are not accepting. We're not allowing. We're not. Um, we get judgy. Like that person's not as far along on the path, or what path are they following anyway? Or I have the right way, or and
or
there
I'm not going fast enough,
oh,
or
well, there's
I
that.
need I
Like
need to keep up.
when am I going to get there? That's the thing.
Well,
Are
that's
we there yet?
yeah, I know. That's a lot of my work is being patient with myself. Like if we set particular goals for ourselves, and then it's like, oh man, how how can I relax into
That's
knowing that my body and my space has the divine mechanism to blossom when it needs to blossom.
yeah. And trust is,
Yes, like
but trust, it comes up for me really big here. But the other one that you just said, and this is the word that has been on my mind all weekend because I've been playing with it for over a year now. is relax.
Mhm.
I mean, it is in my gene keys, like everywhere, but
Right.
the whole thing of, can I just relax
Yeah.
into the perfection that I am? Can I relax into the universal love I am? Can I relax into any of the acidic states? Because they're who we are,
Yeah.
right? Yet
Exactly who we are.
it's all of the stuff that we've created and added.
It's the perfection within perfection.
Okay, now you're going deep.
Yeah, I know, but like we were designed to function perfectly.
Yes.
And so this other stuff is a lot of noise, nonsense. I think about alignment a lot when I think about this key because it's remembering our natural state.
Yeah. It's
I mean, we
embodying
were
our,
designed,
yeah. Can you embody relaxation?
it's well, cellularly, it's a knowingness, but at some point, I believe we will understand or even just know within our own self that perfection is the natural state. And thus, we give space for ourselves and for others.
And for others. Yeah, there's something about being or operating, or being is the word I want to play with.
That we bring perfection to the earth through our mental body, our mental plane.
Right. And then we know we're space holders. We know we're creating safe space for others to be themselves, which I mean, allows everyone to relax. And I think we talked briefly about the shower I had for my daughter's upcoming wedding over the weekend, and that the fact that people didn't have that frenetic, I have to have champagne punch and drink a lot. So I got some feedback that it was low key but fun. And so I think it's because Miranda and I kind of laid this calm foundation that everybody came in, and it just the mix of people, all different kinds of people from all different parts of Kirsten's life, when we all came together, it was like perfection. It was so beautiful. So I got feedback afterwards saying, what a group of beautiful people. And thank you so much for such a lovely time. I mean, so from young and old, all ages. So I'm wondering, how can we, as guides in this work, as anyone who's practicing this work, how can we start playing with this, not just for ourselves, but to let it ripple out from us to create a safe place for more people to play in integrity with their divine perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
there is no how, Deborah. We just do it. Okay. I
We
hear you.
just show up. Well, I think too, as we each do our work, we challenge what we see before us. And we know inherently it's not happening to us, like in the victim state. Like we can own what may have happened or what we may have contributed in parts of our life and like correct ourselves, but in
Yeah.
a loving, gentle way. Like it just, I don't know. That's
Yeah. No, and my my favorite way to do that, when I catch myself getting going in a direction I don't want, I call it out, and I sometimes it's out loud to the person I'm with, or to the, if I'm in a training, and I'll like go, whoa, I just felt my desire for things to be a different way start to take hold. And I don't want, I want to allow things to be what they are, because that's where the magic is.
yeah,
And as soon as I call it out, it's like taking looking under your bed with the flashlight going, where's those monsters under the bed? Oh, it's just my stuffed animal. Look, it's my bear. So there's something about, and what came to mind when you were saying that is like the sunrise. So it's dark. We walk into a room and there's just a little bit of light that shows up. And then little by little, it's contagious and more light comes. And then and then it's daytime. And then, it goes back to night. I mean, so can we allow it to be all the different forms of light and dark that life is,
Right.
that we are?
And that's part of the totality of this life that we're
Oh,
dancing
really?
in. Yeah, that's something. Well, and accepting all of that. I mean, this isn't about, I mean, I truly appreciate, and I believe me, how many times have I talked about love and light, but we wouldn't see it,
We wouldn't feel it.
and we wouldn't feel it unless we had some of the other
Contrast. What was the
contrast.
teacher that used to talk about contrast? Esther
Yeah,
Hicks?
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
she said we just get to go, oh, there's contrast to what I'm wanting. So I'm noticing, thank you. It's like when we're driving, we don't go, oh, there's a car in my way and judge it and go, no, we just go around it. You know what I mean? It's good for us to know that that there's other ways of being so that we can choose again what we do want, you know? Ooh. Yeah, that was a 20-year-old teaching that just came up from somewhere. So
well, it's funny because I had this experience yesterday for myself, and I got, I could just feel it in my body, and I'm like, what is this? This is kind of, it's irking me pretty bad. I don't know if it was, I was feeling collective energy, but this pressure was like mounting. And I finally had to just tell my husband, you might want to clear the room. Because I am feeling this intensity. So what did I do? I got in the kitchen and I started cooking, and I started preparing all these meals and stuff for myself and him this week. And with lots of love, and just focusing that energy on that, because honestly, I don't know where it was coming from. And I know that part of it was me coming into this week knowing that I was going to have something done to my mouth. So I am still working through, childhood wounds that, that come up. And I was like, oh, if that's what that is, it's going to be perfect, however it shows up. And why would I need to worry about it ahead of time? It's going to happen. I can expect the highest and best for me in this scenario. I have chosen somebody who's going to be taking care of me with all of his wisdom.
you love this
And
dentist. Yeah, I know.
I do. I love this dentist. Like, he is healing my childhood, 7, 8-year-old.
That
Whenever time I go to him, because he's so gentle and so thoughtful with his words and working with me. So I just have to say, for me, that, healing that part has been really, really beneficial. And I
and
noticed it,
yeah, and the fears that are there are um I used to have this conversation with my daughter when she was getting ready to have an important field hockey game. She was captain a couple times in high school and college. And she was like, I just want to make sure I do right by the team. And I was like, okay. So she says, I'm so stressed and I'm so nervous. And I was like, let's take that energy and
Mhm.
just redirect it. What if it was excitement?
Yeah.
What
And
if it
it's
was like,
very similar energy.
it is, but our body will not produce the cortisol. It will produce the what's the happy chemical. So it's funny because do you want oxytocin, which feeds you and nourishes you, or do you want the cortisol, which just drains your adrenal glands? So um so then she started going, oh, I said, it's so how can you use this to go out, and what we landed on, and it was her a kind of a co-creative space, is she said, I just want to remember how much I love to play the game. I
Yeah.
said, bingo, because that, we've talked about it, joy and ecstasy and delight.
But in
That
that ways,
is a different thing. So in this time of anticipating what is going to happen today, my only thing is, besides loving the discomfort, is I want to be curious with you about, I wonder what is going to be healed. This is your expressive channel. Oh
I
my
know.
God, Suzanne, I'm like so excited for you. Of course, I have to go through the pain, but I mean, you can go through the pain. But so what I want to say is I'm holding that space for you,
Yeah.
that this is going to unleash or unlock another piece of your brilliant wisdom to come through.
Yeah. No, I feel that too. As much as yeah.
Have that fear stuff. Yeah. Hello.
Sure. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
who doesn't have something somewhere? So,
Yeah.
and that's part of the perfection of it, is that we get to move through. It's it's allowing us to move and change in new directions.
Yes. And if we don't get, well, I don't want to say if we don't get there, because then that's a judgy thing, but there's something about, this is a navigational tool that we want to grow into, to develop ourselves into more and more, because change is coming so fast and furious right now.
It comes really quickly. So one of the tools that I think of is the presence part, because if I can stay so present to the fact that this won't ever happen again, like this moment isn't going to happen again, how can I uh, revel in the deliciousness of this experience now, even if I'm there? Like, okay, I'm wow, I get to experience this. It's kind of like going on a ride. I mean, like just the minutia, the small stuff too, like, will I ever, when you see a laughing baby, or when you had children. See, I haven't had children, but if you had children, you're like, hold on, you get those brief moments and those
Oh,
brief years.
yeah. And they're still there.
And now
Yeah.
your daughter's getting married. So I mean, like, it it's having those just precious uh acknowledgments of each step.
Yeah. And our body doesn't know the difference if it was 30 years ago or if it's in the moment. So when we tap into the pleasure of a beautiful moment, or a memory that was one of our favorite times that we felt all lit up. One of the things that I remember so vividly is you walking to meet Andrew at your wedding. You
Mm.
crossed that bridge, you had that beautiful dress on, you just were like bursting with joy and so much beauty, and you radiated. I mean, we all felt you, you know and uh I still hold people always to their highest and most potent moments. So even when they're in a place of, like my friend that has had been struggling with the brain tumor, I still see her as her most magnificent, loving, when she's dancing on the dance floor, and she is magical and healing. She heals everyone in the room when she dances, you know? So there's something about um, holding people in their divine perfection, so that when they forget, they have someone that goes, oh, yeah, remember? And that's what we do for each other. That's what you and I do for each other. And hopefully we're doing for other people that might be listening to this. So,
Yeah.
and I need to close because I have a nail in my tire I have to go fix. Talk about things to fix. I love to fix things.
There's no judgment there. It's just matter of fact.
It is. It is. The second one it was the same. It was the last week in September last time. And this was the exact same time. And my daughter was driving the car, who doesn't even live in the country. So she goes, I don't know how I managed to do this. So I um want to just say thank you. And if you have any questions, we would love to hear from you about where does judgment, or what does it feel like to be in integrity, or you know, different practices that support you in reaching your divine perfection. Um, what does it feel like to you? That would be great to share. So anyway, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Till next time.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear on the other side. Text me. Okay.